Welcome to the Tristan Law Show. If it's your first time here, welcome. And if you've been here before, welcome back. I'm Tristan Law. Today is going to be extra special because for the first time ever, I have a two-time guest. His name is Buddy Tomas. He's trained by Gina Caruso at East Coast Pro Wrestling. He's had well over 400 matches, well, almost 400 matches since 2021. He's wrestled people like Enzo Amore, Afa Jr., Bull James, and Tony Atlas. You've heard his story before, and now we're going to be diving into who Buddy is now and how his journey has shaped him. I would like to welcome back to the Tristan Law Show, Buddy Tomas. Buddy, welcome to the Tristan Law Show. What's going on?
Thank you so much for having me today, Tristan.
It's a pleasure to have you. I mean, you know, you're the first ever two-time guest ever, so you know I'm pretty proud that you can get into, you know, the Hall of Fame of the Tristan Law Show. So I appreciate that.
First ever two-timer.
So since your debut in 2021, you've had almost nearly 400 matches. How do you feel about your progress in the business so far?
I think it's been insane. Watching my first match back, I watched it back a couple days ago, and to see how much I've learned and how different I am as a performer within my look, my moveset, and everything, like even gear, the whole presentation is so different, and it's so crazy. Like 3.5 years have passed and how much I've grown in that time.
You know, one of the things that I was looking at when I was looking at some of the old videos of us, I was looking at the older episode that we did way back in 2022 between you and I when we were talking about your journey and how you started and everything else like that. I looked at how we both look different. You know, some of us look older and some of us look
so
younger.
Different.
And some of us are a lot more blonder, I guess. You know, I see you got a new hairstyle and you got a new belt next to you. You know, tell us a little bit about, you know, what's been going on with you. Talk to us about the belt.
So, Saturday night, it was myself and my umbrella taking on Ricky Price and MJ Stacks, the TOP. And I don't have a lot of time. So I was thinking about it, and I didn't have time to train my umbrella personally to wrestle. So I took the umbrella, and I put Drew Marston inside for the night, and then still had my umbrella come out at the end of the night, and we all wound up walking away with the titles. So Drew Marston is not the umbrella, but I put him in it so that we could both get the tag team titles.
So let me understand this. So you walk around with an umbrella now that is a live person. Like, I don't get it. Somebody that's watching this for the first time, they don't understand this umbrella thing. Tell us the story behind the umbrella.
So John Tella took a little bit of a hiatus after he lost the ECPW heavyweight title. And I asked him to give me a best friend because John Tella, as you know, is my best friend. So I asked him if he could send me a new best friend to kind of take the loss. And he sent me an umbrella. I thought it was the greatest thing in the world. He must have put some like pixie dust on my umbrella and turned it to life, because this is the greatest thing I think I've ever seen.
Well, that's something that I've never seen before, but I love it. But now you went from carrying an umbrella to jumping off the ring off the ropes with an umbrella to now you have a real life umbrella as a tag team partner, I guess. That is not Drew Marston, who we had on a couple weeks ago. Buddy, you've worked with some well-known names, like I mentioned, like Enzo Amore, Bull James, Tony Atlas. What are some of the most memorable moments from these experiences?
Well, last March of 2023, I did my first little like interview segment with Enzo Amore. And I think I had like really bad gear on that day, like horrible. Like it wasn't even customized. And now I wrestled him over the summer a couple times, and he didn't even know I was the same kid. He had no idea it was the same guy that he was doing this stuff with. And now I'm going to wrestle him 2 or 3 more times throughout the fall. And it's just been such a learning experience, learning from someone that I grew up watching on TV. He's definitely helped me out a lot.
I think that's fantastic that the older generation gives back to the new generation. Even though I have only been wrestling just a little bit longer than you, but I think one day your number's going to pass me. It's always good for yesterday to give back to to today. Wrestling with these veterans, how has it influenced your style or look on pro wrestling as a whole?
I mean, I think their perspective on shows at this level is different. Guys at my level, they want to go out there and they're trying to get signed. They're trying to do everything they can to show how good they are as a performer and do all these things. But when I wrestled the names, they kind of settled down and they're like, all right, we're going to go back to the basics for this match. You're not really going to do much at all. And they get the biggest reaction of the night. And I don't understand it. I don't understand how they go in there and they could do a hip toss and they're getting a bigger reaction than doing their moves that they did on TV. It blows my mind.
Maybe that's one of the questions that you can ask one of the veterans next time you run into them. Ask them, how is it that you can get something over like a hip toss or something as simple as a punch? Because that's something that I've never thought of. But that's something that you could come back to me and let me know once you find out.
Yeah, I will.
If you're liking what we're doing right now, my interview with beautiful Buddy Tomas, be sure to subscribe. The subscription to my YouTube channel, The Tristan Law Show, is one of the best compliments that you can give me. It makes me feel like I'm it makes me feel like I'm doing a really good job here at The Tristan Law Show. But right now I'm here with beautiful Buddy Tomas. Buddy Tomas, he is a pro wrestler, up and coming. Got almost, over almost 400 matches in the world of pro wrestling. He's sitting down here with us today. Buddy, in our original sit down, we had a little chat. And in that chat, I asked you about some of the challenges that you had in pro wrestling school. Let's see if we can take a look at that video. What's the most challenging thing that you had to overcome while you were in the pro wrestling school?
I think it's still going on slightly, is like the embarrassment of being like more animated and out there, like trying to like be someone that you're not. You're trying to become the character, but also you have to realize that like you can't overdo it because that's not who you really are. So I feel like finding the perfect mesh is still the hard part for me.
Dude, is pink your favorite color?
It might be at this point. I mean, it seems like every interview I'm wearing pink.
Okay, well, shout out to your stylist, because I know you got that money to get a stylist. All right, so in that clip, you talked about not trying to become someone you're not. How have you grown since then in terms of your identity, both in and out of the ring?
That interview was in 2022,
That's
right?
correct. Yes, 2022 was when we did that interview, yes.
Okay, so I think in the past 2 years, I've easily had at least 300 matches. Has to be at least close to that. And I think over that time, I finally found myself in wrestling, at least a little bit. The umbrella came in during that time. I've now bleached my hair. I've grown in facial hair. I think I'm starting to figure out who beautiful Buddy Tomas is. Back then, like, I was going out wearing generic gear I bought online. I really didn't have a look, and I think now I'm starting to finally color in the picture of beautiful Buddy Tomas.
One of the things that people don't know, if they've never seen us before, heard of us before, is that I've known you since you were under 18. I've known you since you were a minor. I've known you since you were old enough to vote. I've known you since you are now old enough to drink. So it's like, just looking at you, like, you've come a long way. Like, you got facial hair, you got everything else like that. You're talking about who you are now. How did you discover your authentic self doing this journey?
I think it was throwing things at the wall and seeing what works. I mean, I grew in facial hair and I don't shave it. I've now bleached my hair and people are telling me I look even more like a bad guy. that I look like a horrible person, someone that you're not going to want to talk to. And I think it just kind of helps me out as best as possible. Just throwing things at the wall and hoping that they work.
So you came out at first with an atomizer. It's the thing that pushes, that aerates things, and you had like a little mist or perfume or toxin, whatever came out. And then you had the umbrella. Like, talk about, what made you go into having the atomizer? What made you, go into the umbrella? Now you have a real life umbrella. Talk about some of the changes that you've made in the Buddy Tomas character since day one.
So my first match, I came out with a comb and a mirror, and I had to wrap the mirror up in like a dish towel, and it broke in my bag. So I was like, all right, we're not going to do mirrors because I don't want to deal with broken glass. So then I got the perfume sprayer by the time I had my second match. And over time, I just got tired of carrying it around. Like, I got filled up with water every time I go out. It would get gross on the inside, have to dry it out, everything like that. So I was like, oh, I just got bored of carrying it around. So I wrestled on a show last year for Gino Caruso at a fair, and Tommy Dreamer was there, and it was raining. So if I wanted to get my payday, I was going to wrestle in the rain. So I made sure I did the matches. So I went to my car, and I just picked up the umbrella that I had it sitting in my front seat. And I wrestled Justin Bon Jovi with the umbrella the whole match. And Tommy Dreamer watched my match. And I was like, that's the greatest thing. Like, that's your gimmick now. You're going to keep wrestling with it. So I've just kind of, like I said, toss things to the wall and see what worked. I do old school, walking the top rope with the umbrella, toss the umbrella up in the air, catch it, hit people. Now I got a human umbrella. It's just growing and finding new ways to keep it relevant, I think, is what I've learned in the past year.
I'm looking forward to you now throwing the human umbrella up in the air, catching them, and punching somebody in the face.
Yes.
So going back to our original interview that we did in 2022, we talked about you not going to college and going to pro wrestling school right away. Let me go ahead and play that clip for you, and we'll talk about it. Most of your fellow high school graduates went to college after high school. What did you choose to do instead, and why?
2 months after I graduated high school, I messaged Gino Caruso and said that I was finally ready to start wrestling school. And I started the day before my 18th birthday.
So I remember having an argument with you in the car, and it wasn't more of an argument. It was more of like a lecture. It was more like one-sided. And I remember telling you that if you are going to not go to college and not have a backup plan, that you better be the best damn wrestler out there. So I want to know, how has the journey been since starting training around your 18th birthday?
Just making sure that I'm kept busy. Every weekend, I make sure that I'm doing something wrestling. And it's really worked out for me. This weekend, I have 7 matches coming up, and I just make sure I book myself in places where I'm going to make money and be able to afford what I need, gear, everything like that. Like, umbrellas break, glasses break. I need to dress a certain way for the part to get to shows. So I'm just trying to make as much money and make myself look presentable going to these shows. And I'm trying to make sure that I don't have to fall back on any other career, because this is all I've ever wanted. I don't want to have to go and sit in an office or go to college eventually. It's just not something I want to do.
I'm proud that you still are doing it, that you still are working so hard, because remember, I will hold your feet to the fire. One day you're going to get into like a Hall of Fame thing, and I'm going to tell somebody that, you know what, I'm proud of you. And I'm still proud of you now, because I told you that if you're going to do this and not go to college, you better be the best damn wrestler out there. So many of your high school peers likely went to college right away. Do you ever regret not taking a traditional path into adulthood like everybody else?
No, not really. I mean, I still saw the inside of college. So, I mean, wrestling inside one, like going to hang out with people inside of a college. So I still got like college experience, just minus the school.
Okay.
And that was the worst part, was the schoolwork. I didn't want to do that. So I still had the experiences with people and friends, but just minus the actual education part.
You know what? I'm glad that you're smart enough to realize and not waste your time or your money that maybe college is not for you. You know, it's not for everybody. Like I had the same exact thing happen to me, to where I decided, you know what, I don't want to write another essay ever again. And that's when I started putting my both feet into broadcast media, which is why I get to sit here with you today. Buddy, how do you balance pursuing your passions for pro wrestling and handling the real life aspects of not taking the college route?
Just knowing that this is what I wanted to do. I got a job where I'm allowed to wrestle whenever I want. So I'm really grateful for that. I have parents who support me 100% with wrestling, a family that understands this is what I want to do, friends that understand that this is the only thing I've ever wanted in my life. So I think right now I'm in a position where everyone's so supportive and allows me to go and do what I want and try and get wrestling to become my main income. So right now I'm just super happy and super grateful for that.
Which wrestler, past, present, do you model yourself after, if any?
I guess moveset wise, a lot of people say Matt Cardona or Zack Ryder. I hit a couple of his moves when I'm in the ring. But now I kind of like pick and choose things from different guys. I saw The Undertaker doing old school, and I was like, all right, what if I do that with the umbrella? Tommy Dreamer does the Dusty Rhodes punches. So I was like, all right, he's the one that gave me the gimmick. Let me hold the umbrella up, give him the Dusty punches, toss it up, and then give him, instead of a bionic elbow, I give him a rolling elbow. Just different ideas to like pay homage to the people that like made me want to start wrestling, and then the guys who helped me along the way.
Talking about the guys that have helped you along the way, do you still stay in touch with your trainers and mentors? How have they supported your growth as Buddy Tomas?
I mean, me and you stay in contact. You helped me a lot. Back when I didn't have a car, I messaged you one day and I was like, hey, Tristan, can I ride down with you to the school? And then we kept with that for a long time, probably like 10 months, right?
That sounds about right. 10 months sounds about right.
Yeah, so you definitely helped me, and now me, Tamir Gibbs, and Drew Marston, we're kind of riding buddies now. So we all go down, we train with each other, we go to shows together, everything like that. So that definitely has helped a lot. Sonny Kiss, Trey Felipe, Alex Ryman, Kenny Bengal, they've all really helped a lot with training me and helping me learn a lot more. So yeah, they've all really, everything's kind of helped a lot, and I still talk to these guys twice a week.
So you've traveled across the East Coast working for a different promotion. What is it like constantly being on the road? Now I could finally ask you this question. Do you have any crazy travel stories? Remember, your daddy and mom might be watching.
Yeah, there are a couple, but it's not like they didn't personally happen to me. There was actually one time myself, Brian Mancuso, and Drew Marston were going to pick up Kevin Apollo's ring for a ring rental. And we go to the place to pick up the truck rental. And the lady was like, we don't have a truck for you. So I called Gino, and he goes off on the people, and they get us a truck. But the truck's not going to be there for 3 hours. So we had a lot of time to burn. So we drove to the Palisades Mall. And we just somehow that day kept meeting the most random strangers in the world. We had some old lady come up to us, and we thought she was like a spirit. Like, it's the most insane story. I have it written down in my book. It's like 4 pages. This lady was like, you guys don't look like you're from around here, and we're just trying to get breakfast. And she holds us there for at least 2 hours, maybe. We talked to this lady forever. It was really, really something. And then she just disappeared. She vanished. And that's probably one of the craziest things I've ever seen on the road. It's just a lady appearing, talking to us, and then, like, I don't even remember what she talked to us about. But, like, you just meet some crazy people along the way.
Well, look, we all have our stories. I like that you're writing them down in your book so that maybe one day you can write a book. I love to read books these days, so I can't wait to read your book. But I just want to let everybody know something, that I have a problem with Cody Rhodes. And if you want to know what that problem is, I'm telling you to join me this Friday at noon for the next episode of the Tristan Law Show. Cody Rhodes and I have beef, and I'm going to dive into the problem that I have with Cody. Also, don't forget that Saturday, there is a WWE Bad Blood prediction show, and Sunday morning, we're going to have a WWE Bad Blood reaction show. I know your life is busy, so subscribe so you don't miss a moment. I'm sitting here with beautiful Buddy Tomas. He is a independent pro wrestler who is going to be at the next level, somebody you're going to see on TV one day. So if you don't know him, you better know him now. Buddy, you've had a busy career so far. So what are your goals for the next year? Any dream opponents or promotions that you want to work with? Call them out right now.
Well, of course, I'm still waiting for that match with Tommy Dreamer. It's been talked about for at least a year now. I've wanted that match anywhere that wants to book it. That's the match I really want. Promotion wise, of course, I really want to work for the NWA. I really want to work GCW, MLW, and then, of course, extra work in any way I can. I mean, I know Major League Wrestling does extra work, TNA does extra work, WWE, AEW, and anything where I could go and meet people, create myself opportunities, and get my foot in the door. I think that is what I want 2025 to be, creating new opportunities for myself.
I love that you're not waiting until 2025, or you know how we normally wait until the end of the year. Like, 2024 was such a great year, but I can't wait for 2025. I want to do this, and that. But you've already had that figured out. I think that is outstanding of you. So I know that, you know, you've done a lot of changing, and anybody that's been watching this episode know that you have done a lot of changing and evolution in yourself as well. How do you plan to stay relevant and continue to evolve as a pro wrestler?
Well, I think it's trying to stay healthy, because staying healthy means that I get booked, and I don't want to be hurt and then have to take months away and then be forgotten about and then come back, and then you got to work yourself all the way back up. So right now it's just wrestling in a safe but also entertaining aspect where you're seen enough to where everyone knows who you are, what you're doing. And I think that has helped me a lot get way out there with different promotions this year. Every week I'm posting something because I'm always somewhere. It's always something new. So I'm always posting something from different places. So I make myself very relevant on social media. And it's helped me a lot get booked outside of my home promotion.
So you started as beautiful Buddy Tomas, and then you became hot stuff Buddy Tomas. What are you? Who are you? Which name is it? What are we supposed to call you? Shout it out for right now so that we know that when we book you on our podcast or when a promoter puts you on a poster, what name are they supposed to use?
So I go by Beautiful Buddy Tomas. My gear says hot stuff. My music sometimes is hot stuff. Sometimes it's umbrella. I think that's something that I'm planning on doing, is getting a whole new gear design made up where it's going to just be all umbrella themed. And that'll be my new look from now on. Get away from all the confusion and just be focused on one thing.
I think like the shirt that you're wearing right now, instead of having palm trees on it, you should get one designed with pink umbrellas. Don't listen to me. I just make up crazy things.
would be a good idea, though.
So what's next for Buddy Tomas? Where can fans expect to find you in the near future?
Well, next weekend I'm wrestling Enzo Amore in Westwood, New Jersey, October 12th. So that's going to be an exciting one. October 26th, I'm wrestling for Pro Wrestling Magic in Ridgefield Park. And October 19th, I'm wrestling for Primetime Wrestling in a ladder match for a clock.
For a clock. Explain that. What's the clock? What's the purpose of the clock? You know, like we know there's Money in the Bank. You're climbing up for an opportunity for a WWE, title match in the future. You know, if it's a ladder match with a title, you're climbing up and the person that grabs the title, is the champion. So now you're climbing up and grabbing the clock. I hope that doesn't mean that you're like the time master or something like that.
So from my understanding, if you retrieve the clock until you cash it in for a title opportunity, defend the clock. So there's going to be a giant wheel that you spin, and if it lands, it's going to be like beat the clock. So I could spin, and I could have 5 minutes to beat my opponent. If he beats me, he gets the clock. If I beat him, I keep the clock. He could have to beat me in 3 seconds, 5 seconds, 2 hours. It's going to be an exciting concept. And I can't wait to see how it plans out. But of course, I would have to win the clock. But definitely tune into Primetime Pro Wrestling to see how that clock plays out.
I think that that's unique. And I think that's something that I would want to watch just to see how it plays out. And I recommend anybody that's watching or listening right now, to go check out everything that Buddy Tomas is doing. You can find him on social media at Buddy Tomas Sucks. Buddy, I want to appreciate you for taking the time on this random Tuesday, afternoon to join me here on the Tristan Law Show. What are your last words?
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a long time, and a lot has happened for me in these 2 years. So it's good to catch up and actually feel like I have something to talk about this time. The last time we had a really long interview the last time, but I was so new that I didn't really have much experience on the road. So I think it was good to come out here today and tell my updated story of how everything has happened for me in the past 2 years.
Well, in case you don't know, I'm going to let everybody know right now that your previous episode that you did back in 2022 is it is the most watched episode on the Tristan Law Show since I've started doing video. So, right now, I think the number one episode in this season is with Ricky Price. I know that you know Ricky Price a little well. You took that belt from him. So I think that you're going to...
It still has the stickers on it. Still says the TOP on the side.
Oh, well, you need to peel it off and put some umbrellas on there. But Buddy, I definitely appreciate you being here. I love seeing that you're growing up and you're becoming a man and you're doing what you have to do. I also want to thank everybody for joining me here on the Tristan Law Show. Buddy, thank you so much. Don't forget that Friday at noon, join me for Here Is the Problem with Cody Rhodes, because I got some beef with Cody Rhodes. This weekend, also don't forget to join me as I get you ready for WWE Bad Blood Saturday and the aftermath of WWE Bad Blood Sunday morning. I want you to subscribe, I want you to like, and I want you to share this episode if you like what I did. I am Tristan Law, and this is the Tristan Law Show. I'll see you next time.
Flashing red lights, driving at night, windowless ride, feeling alive, nothing in sight, forever in flight, follow those lines, we'll make it this time.